Nairobi women Rep Esther Passaris has strongly condemned a social media post depicting Raila Odinga as the next Pope following the passing of Pope Francis on Monday. Speaking in Parliament, Passaris criticized the satirical AI-generated images as deeply disrespectful to both Odinga and the global Catholic community. The images, widely circulated online, have been interpreted by many as a dig at Raila's first and successful bids for high office.
I've seen a lot of people on social media, the ones who have no respect, actually painting a picture that shows that they have no respect for a man who lived with God and ruled over 2 billion people as a spiritual leader. By putting Raila's image and putting Raila in pop clothes, I think that is so disrespectful. I want to tell our Gen Zs out there are those of you who stand for certain values, and we respect you for your values, but do not allow those values to be undermined by those that have no respect. You should have respect for Raila Odinga, and you should have respect for the 2 billion Catholics, and you should have respect for the Pope.
Pope Francis, 88, died at his Vatican residence after suffering a stroke. His burial will take place on Saturday, 26 April at the Basilica of St. Mary Major in accordance with his wishes.
Pearl Newsbeat.
Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen has announced that the government is set to establish a special unit to tackle human trafficking. Speaking before the National Assembly Committee on Administration and Internal Security, Murkomen said the unit will focus on enforcing labor migration regulations and targeting individuals who lure youth with the false promises of opportunities abroad. He confirmed that several cases have been reported and that investigations are underway. The CS also outlined ongoing support for victims, including rescue, legal aid, psychosocial services, and reintegration efforts.
If you're talking about the people who are going to Myanmar, Vietnam, and all those other countries, ordinarily they will just go through the normal recruitment agencies, and then the process is processed, and they're saying people are going there, they are going to do official jobs, and then when they reach there, they are used for sexual exploitation and other things. Emanating from this discussion, I thinking around human trafficking unit might be necessary to confront the new challenges that we are facing as a country. As you can see, the cases I read here go back to 2020, 2019.
The National Assembly's Health Committee has opened an 80-day public inquiry into alleged unethical kidney transplant practices at Medihill Group of Hospitals. Chaired by Seme MP Dr. James Nyikal, the inquiry follows a public uproar and claims of transplant tourism, organ trade, and professional misconduct. Nyikal said the committees will assess the compliance with the Kenyan laws and ethical standards and the proposed reforms. Concerns were raised by the Kenya Renal Association over coercion and inducement of vulnerable donors, particularly at Medihill's Eldoret facility. The probe will also review the roles of foreign doctors and patients, as well as regulatory lapses by bodies like PDC and the Ministry of Health.
We have set up an inquiry. The committee has set itself as an inquiry committee, and we are going to do this. We have given ourselves a period of 80 days to do this work, and when we are in the process, it will be an open process in most cases, and you will be invited to see the process as it is going on.
We are clean, our processes are clean. We have all the records to confirm that our processes are clean. We're asking the government, come and audit us. The patients are there, we have the records. The patients are willing to come and testify. And we believe that at the conclusion of the audit, we'll get a clean bill of health.
Health CS Aden Dwale has already suspended all transplants at Medihill and launched a parallel audit into its operations.
Pearl Newsbeat.
President William Ruto has arrived in Beijing for a 3-day state visit aimed at boosting trade, investment and infrastructure ties between Kenya and China. He was received by the Chinese Minister of Transportation, accompanied by First Lady Rachel Ruto. The visit also included bilateral talks with the President Xi Jinping and the opening of the Kenya Tea Holding Center in a Fujian province aimed at increasing Kenyan tea market access in Asia.
Pearl Newsbeat.
Public Service Cabinet Secretary Geoffrey Ruku has announced plans to move passport registration processing from immigration offices to Huduma centers. Ruku said the move is aimed at easing congestion, improving service delivery, and making passport services more accessible to Kenyans. Currently handled at immigration offices like Nairobi's Nyayo House, the service will be decentralized to Huduma centers across the country. The CS made the remarks after an impromptu visit to Huduma centers in Kiambu and Thika, noting that many Kenyans have long called for the shift.
There is one service which most of the Kenyans come to Huduma centers to ask whether it is orphaned, and we'll see how we can synchronize with the Ministry of Immigration to ensure also passports registration can be also processed from the Huduma centers. As a government, we will work to see whether we can have many immigration services orphaned at Huduma centers.
And across borders, Burkina Faso's military government claims it has foiled a major coup plot aimed at toppling junta leader Captain Ibrahim Traore. Security Minister Mohamed Sana said the plan allegedly involving current and former soldiers working with the terrorist groups that targeted the presidential palace and was coordinated from Ivory Coast. Sana accused the plotters of trying to use religious and traditional leaders to influence the army with the aim of plunging the country into chaos and placing it under international supervision. Several military personnel, including 2 officers, have been arrested. Ivory Coast has not responded to the accusations. This is the latest in a series of alleged attempts to oust Traore, who came to power in 2022. Burkina Faso continues to battle jihadist violence with nearly 40% of its territory under militant control.
Pearl Radio, the home of fresh and classic hits.